This was a concept car named the Lynk Co Z10, which was their first model on the SEA platform. At that time, the brand was seen heading towards a bright future in high-end EVs. However, unexpectedly, this model was taken by Zeekr, Geely's new brand focusing solely on EV, and turned into Zeekr 11 we all know. Since then, Lynk Co has completely parted ways with EVs. And after 3 years, the Lynk Co Z10 is back. Well, of course, with a different badge. This is the Lynk Co Z10, the brand's first pure electric car ever. Just like the previous Zero, this one is also built on the SEA platform. And this got me wonder, the reason why Zeekr is separated from Lynk Co is that Geely want the former to focus on pure electric and the latter to stick to ICE and PHEV. But now with the Lynk Co's first EV on the market, how should we choose from these two? And that's what we're going to find out today. I'm Harris, you're watching Matt EV. From a visual standpoint, the biggest difference between these two is their body style. The Zeekr 11 was based on the prototype Lynk Co Z10, which falls into a somewhat hard to define category, while the Z10, taking inspiration from the next day concept, presents itself as a typical 3-box design. Moreover, to accentuate this, it has been significantly lowered. Combined with the sloping front end and extremely low ground clearance made possible by air suspensions, the Z10 does look like a proper sports saloon. When it comes to details, the Z10 is also quite unique. The daytime running light adopted the Lynk Co's 3rd generation style, and the entire car's lighting system is RGB capable. The body lines are straight and sturdy, while minimizing elements of design. At the rear, it has a long overhang and is equipped with a retractable spoiler, giving off the vibe of the Porsche Panamera or even the 911. With such design choices, Lynk Co hasn't skipped the aerodynamics. Being a saloon with a fastback design, the Z10 naturally has better aerodynamic than SUVs and wagons. Features like long-tail retractable spoiler and multiple air vents further enhance the airflow, helping the car achieve an impressive drag coefficient of just 0.198. So compared to the Zeekr 11 that just doesn't look energy-saving, we can definitely expect the Z10 to be more efficient. So if you want a proper electric saloon, just go for this Lynk Co. But if you want something more practical, the Zeekr 11 is clearly the better choice, because it's basically an estate with more ground clearance, sort of like an Audi all-road. Meanwhile, we can also see such differences in the interior. Compared to the 4-year-old design in the 11, the Z10 clearly has more modern elements. The gear shifter has been replaced by a column-mounted one, and the traditional objects like door handles have been changed to buttons and levers. The instrument display is now more slender and focused on essential information, while navigation and the SI interface for ADAS are displayed on a large HUD. Speaking of the dash, this is the first time Lynk Co is using this 2-spoke steering wheel, and overall it's pretty impressive. It's the perfect size, feels great to grip, and the layout of the multi-function buttons makes sense. But for me, it's just a bit too far from my chest, making it tough to get a proper position for spirit driving. Plus, due to the low belt line and the steep angle of the A-pillar, you will feel like you're not sitting low enough, and your view will be slightly blocked by the sun visor, just like in my new ET5. However, when it comes to materials and features, Lynk Co really delivers. The interior looks super nice with a mix of textures that are pleasant to touch and to look at. The sound system is from Harman Kardon, same as in the Lynk Co 07, and it's top-notch. 1,600 volts and 23 speakers create a stellar experience. The front and rear seats don't just look nice, they come with heating, ventilation, and massage, and the front seats offer pretty wide adjustability. What's more, the back seats are surprisingly roomy and comfy. The central armrest is vast, and the seating position is precisely what you expect in a saloon this size. Even for someone as tall as me, it's still pretty chill back here. And despite all that, the boot is not harmed, and very practical. So even with this sloping roof, the headroom is still better than I expected. And I think it's safe to say that the comfort in the back is not very far away
from the Zeekr 111.
Aside from the interior design, the area difference between the two also shows up in their tech features. On the hardware side, the Zeekr 111 has a Snapdragon 8295 chip paired with a slightly older Mobileye Q5 chip. Software-wise, it's equipped with Zeekr's own operating system, along with the Mobileye ADAS package. None of that, however, is present in the Z10. For the smart cockpit, Lynk Co went with Flyme Auto OS and a chip called E5. While we don't have more info on this chip, Geely's ECARX, who co-developed this chip with AMD, suggests that it could pack more punch than the Snapdragon 8295. Information is also lacking about ADAS. Beyond the rooftop LiDAR and the usual number of cameras, we've seen zero info on other related hardware. But judging from Geely's development, it's likely the dual Orin X setup with self-developed self-driving software that we saw on the Zeekr 777. As for the lower part, the Z10 sticks to the SEA-1 platform, just like the Zeekr 111. And if you don't know what SEA-1 is, you might want to check out our previous video on this architecture. With a front double wishbone and rear multi-link suspension setup plus dual-chamber air suspension and CTC, the capability of this chassis won't be on the bad side. Words on the street is the top trim Z10 might also get a rear-wheel steering system, and the base model might offer a 400-volt platform to keep the starting price appealing.
Sadly, this car is not ready for a test drive, but according to the vice president of Geely, this Lynk Co will be slightly less sporty than the Zeekr 111.
So circle back to the starting question, how should we choose between the EVs from these two brands? If we look at the cars alone, we can spot some differences in characteristics. The Zeekr 111 aims to balance performance with practicality, whereas the Lynk Co Z10 focuses more on the essence of an electric saloon. However, even with these distinctions, the overlap in price ranges might still cause some hesitation. Geely's top executive has stated that Lynk Co's EV will be positioned slightly below Zeekr, but considering the new 111 has already taken some of the market share of the lower position 777 in China, if the Z10's positioning ends up between the two, it will cause competition within the lineup. Moreover, it still remains to be seen whether Lynk Co can continue to differentiate its EV from Zeekr's corresponding ones once its electric lineup became more saturated.
So based only on the information about this car, I just can't answer the question at the beginning because I can't see the real distinction between these two brands. So I'm terribly sorry for wasting your time.